dog, and the dog's going to come in and out of sight. Nice job. She slowly walks around. Yes. Yes. Good girl. All right, nice. You seen her? Good girl. It's fine if she wants to kind of sniff around and take her time too. There's probably treats and stuff in the sleeves. Good. Ready? So again, we've talked about this before. One of the things that we start noticing when she's feeling a bit more worried is she knows the game, but she's reluctant to look at the dog at first, right? Like she really didn't want to, and she's just staring at me instead, and then she's doing those quick glances. Yes. And it's nowhere near the cones, babe. Oh, I guess there's a bunch of cones. That's actually fine.
Yeah, that works actually.
Yeah, that works.
If we walk over here a little bit.
Just meander, yeah. All right, we're going to come around here a little bit. So she's choosing to kind of move. Good girl. Ease up on the go. Relax. You got to look at the dog now. So now there's a dog over there. Yes. Good girl. That looks better. And she really, again, tries to kind of avoid. Yes, there it is. Looking at the dog. Now she's getting the hang of it. Okay. I actually originally did not mean the line of cones. I meant the 2 cones, but this is working really well. So just go from like the white chairs where you are and back to this line of cones and kind of back and forth. It's fine. Used him with too many cones. Gotta be very careful with when you take your instructions. Nice. So in a second, the dog is going to come around. Very good. That's a pretty good distance. Tossing the trees just because she's a little amped, right? That breathing. That was much better. The mouth is closed instead of open. Alright, so just a little more. There it is. And you spit it out. You gotta chew them. Much better. And now we'll start to slow the head turn. So one of the other things I look at with her is how quickly, not only how quickly does she look, but how sharp is she turning her head, right? So when she's kind of amped up, it's a very sharp turn. Versus when she starts to settle, she starts to do it slower. There it is. See that? A little bit different, right? So instead of it being a whipped head turn, it's a little bit. Good. That was nice. Mouth is staying open. Dog in here so it wasn't too good. Oh, it's feeling something good. Yes, good girl. I'm so worried about a silly little border collie. It's harmless. You could eat her in 2 bites. She's feisty though, I tell you. She can hold her own. So more of that worry in the speed at which she's moving. She's not reacting, but she's definitely worried, right? You can kind of see her starting to move a bit more rapidly, a little more nervous. Yes. Doing great. We're just going to walk it. You got it, kiddo. And look, yes, that was a lovely one. Nice long look. Body stayed nice and calm. Dog was at the furthest point, right? The further the dog is, the easier it is for her. Good girl. You're doing a really good job. It's all right. Really nice. Laying down with her hip kind of over, her eyes. Try to get behind her. Maybe a picture of her eyes. And the dog food color camera. She has what I would call soft eyes right now, which means that her eyes are not big and round, right? So when they get big and round and kind of wild when she's really amped up, instead they're soft. They're kind of almond shaped. She's able to watch even that. So when she just looked up at Maddie, Maddie was kind of hip hopping around. Maddie, she moves kind of funny, and she was able to watch that really well. Good job. So when it come around, stand next to me, and I'm going to kind of switch and have you start feeding because she's doing a lovely job. So I'm going to start food. So go ahead and reward her just so she knows that we're kind of transferring handlers. Good girl. Right here. Oh, very good girl. You're doing really well here. Stand still. Yeah, I know. She's 11. You can't tell her what to do anything. She does what she wants. She used to do a lot of cases for me, and now she rarely does. But she's 11 and doesn't like doing it. Don't make me walk around in a straight line. This is boring. Yes, lovely. Mouth is staying open. So now the dogs are at the closest point, and see how fast that head turn was, right? So when you watch this back a little bit, depending on how much you can hear me in the video, there's a lot that we see in her that changes based on what that dog is doing. Yes, nice job. That was a much better one. So when the dog is at its closest point, we get more rapid head turns. I don't want to look too long. My mouth starts to close. I get a little bit amped up. When the dog, so what Maddie and Scott are kind of doing is a bit of an L where they kind of go up to that chair, and so we're about to reach the furthest point where it's easiest for her, and she gives it a long look. Yeah. See, sometimes she even moves forward and just watches. That's awesome. And then as they come around and they start to head towards the cones, we get closer, right? And that gets a little bit harder for her. Good girl. So now Maddie's going to be closer, and we're going to see what that looks like. Faster looks. Yes, good girl. You're still safe. Nice. Good girl. Perfect. And then just walk this way slowly with her. We're just going to let her sniff. Take a breath. Take a break. Go sniff. Good. Have a sniff. There's no reluctance to move away from the dog. So we saw that again. If we think back to, I think it was our second session when we were at the shelter. And really good job, and we were seeing her okay? So when she's below her threshold, so when she's not being rushed by a dog that is 10 feet away and freaking her out, she really doesn't want to fight, right? Like everything she's doing is, I don't want to fight. Either I don't even want to look at that dog, or after I start to feel a little bit overwhelmed, I try to move away from that dog. She really doesn't want to tussle with these dogs. The only time that we start to get that big blustery shepherd is when, good girl, when she's really, in her case, or what she feels, is feeling very unsafe and really pressed, right? Like that boxer. That boxer was very close, his body language was not great, and she that's when we saw that switch flip, right? But the rest of the time, what we see is a worried little scaredy cat, right? Like she really is worried. This dog is like forever away and does not give two cares about her. And she's like, you know, I'm gonna die, right? She's definitely worried. So we're going to move forward now that Maddie's moving away, and we're gonna see about just settling down again. You're doing a great job already. I'm very proud of you. We're almost done. So we're going to lower, so we're not too hard. And we're gonna see if she's comfortable just kind of hanging out. So rolling over on one hip is a calmer lay down. But she's still, you know, when we talk about her being calm, we're grading on a bit of a curve, right? She's very amped up and shift her position a little bit so it's easier. She's got to break her neck to look at the dog. Dog's closer, looks are faster. Oh, the big bark. It makes everybody think that they're so mean and tough, but they're mean. All right, you can take her back home now, babe. I'm gonna watch her leave, and you're gonna go sniff where she lives.
Thank you.
Love you. I'll see you in a minute.
That
was actually really nice. We could do some more here in the yard. Nice. Thank you guys for letting us use the yard.
Yeah.
This is perfect. This is like, I should have asked about this before we did the cemetery, because this is control. Like there's no dogs are going to watch us right here. And we still have plenty of space, and we can use my dog. It's great. So there's the soft eye, right? See how it's kind of, she's almost squinty looking, right? Instead of like, you know, at other times when she's really, really, she gets those big round eyes. We're going to let them go because they've got to walk up the driveway. Nice job. You did a great job. Good job. That was so cool.
Oh shoot,
Do you
my
have a
battery just died.
veterinarian when